There's this persistent myth about the internet economy.
Hmm.
It's the idea that to make it online, you have to be the main character. You need the charisma, the perfect smile, the daily vlog showing off your coffee.
Right.
But what if the most powerful media empires being built right now are completely invisible? What if the goal isn't to be a celebrity, but to build a machine that works while you sleep?
It's the difference between being a busker on the street corner, hoping for tips, and owning the record label. We aren't talking about vanity projects here.
No.
We're talking about building a digital asset library.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are dissecting a fascinating guide titled Mastering Profitable Faceless YouTube Niches for 2026. It's a really comprehensive look at how the landscape of video creation has shifted from personality-driven content to value-driven systems.
It is a dense piece of work. It really frames this whole thing as the invisible empire. It's not just a list of YouTube ideas. It's a manual on how to treat content creation as manufacturing rather than performance art.
I like that distinction. So here's our roadmap for this session. We're going to peel this back in 3 layers.
Okay.
First, the philosophy why Faceless is a system, not just a style. Second, the menu. We're going to break down the 8 specific niches the source identifies, but we'll group them by how they actually, hack the viewer's brain.
And finally, the execution. We'll look at the decision framework, how to avoid the traps most people fall into, and the specific AI workflow that makes it possible for one person to act like a full production studio.
Let's start with that core concept. The source draws a pretty sharp line between the lifestyle vlogger and the faceless channel. It describes the vlogger lifestyle as, well, pretty brutal.
It's exhausting. I mean, think about it. If your brand is you have to be on all the time. You need new clothes, travel locations, constant novelty.
Right.
If you get sick or just have a bad hair day, your business stops. The source uses this analogy that really stuck with me. A faceless video is a small worker.
A small worker.
Yeah. You create it once, you upload it, and it works for you 24 hours a day, forever. You're building a library of assets, not a diary of your life.
That shift from performance to asset is crucial. It mentions the power of the repeatable format.
This is the operational key. The repeatable format is what allows you to scale. If you're doing a vlog, every day is a new adventure you have to film.
Mm-hmm.
But with a faceless channel, you're essentially using a template. You find a topic, you generate a script, you overlay visuals, and you upload. Because the structure is the same, you can churn out 2 or 3 of these a week while holding down a full-time job.
It transforms content creation from an art form into
a manufacturing process.
Exactly. It also brings up this effort versus reward rule. It's a matrix for choosing what you actually want to build.
Right. And this is where people get burned.
Yeah.
Not all videos are created equal. Some niches give you millions of views, but very low pay. That's high effort, low reward if you aren't careful. Others might get a fraction of the views, but pay incredibly well because the advertisers are desperate for that audience. You have to decide where you fit on that grid before you record a single second of audio.
So fundamentally, this shift isn't just about hiding your face. It's about changing the business model entirely.
Precisely. You stop being the product and you start owning the factory.
Let's get into the specifics, the menu, so to speak. The source breaks this down into 8 niches, but let's not just list them. Let's look at the low barrier entry points first.
Okay.
These are the ones leveraging basic human psychology.
These are your low friction models.
The first cluster relies heavily on emotional regulation and curiosity. The guide starts with daily motivation and stoicism.
This is arguably the easiest place to start, but you have to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
The world is stressed. People are anxious. They are looking for peace.
Mm-hmm.
Content here is evergreen, meaning a quote from Marcus Aurelius is just as relevant in 5 years as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the nuance the guide points out. You can't just copy-paste quotes.
Right, it talks about persona-first prompting.
Exactly. If you just ask an AI to write a script about anger, you get generic fluff. The source suggests acting as a Stoic philosopher. You tell the AI, write a 300-word monologue on controlling anger in the style of Marcus Aurelius, strictly using metaphors of fire and water.
Wow.
That specific constraint is what prevents the AI from sounding like a Hallmark card. You aren't trying to dazzle people with special effects. You're selling a feeling of calm.
Moving from calm to high stimulation, we have quiz and trivia and scary stories and true crime. I feel like these work on a totally different mechanism.
Oh, completely. These are what the guy calls engagement traps. Take quizzes, guess the flag, general knowledge. These videos go viral because they hack the competitive part of the brain. You have to play along.
It creates a feedback loop.
Well, it's actually more of a retention trap. The algorithm doesn't just care that they commented. It cares that they paused the video to read the question or watched until the very last second to see the answer. That pause, that retention, is the strongest signal you can send to YouTube.
And true crime.
That relies on the curiosity gap. Humans have a psychological need to close the loop. If you start a video about the mystery of the Mary Celeste, a ship found floating with no crew people, physically cannot click away until they hear the theory.
Right.
It's digital campfire stories. And once they find a channel that tells a good story, they binge 5 or 6 in a row.
Then there's history and geography. This feels a bit more academic.
Edutainment. Map videos are exploding right now. But again, the barrier is low because you don't need to be a professor. The source uses the example of explaining the Silk Road to a 12-year-old. It's about taking complex facts and making them digestible with simple visuals like maps and flags.
It's funny, looking at these 4, they seem totally different. History versus quizzes.
On the surface, sure, but functionally, they are identical. They're all low-asset, high-curiosity loops. You don't need personality. You just need to trigger the I need to know reflex.
Now, let's shift gears to the high-value niches. The source describes these as the money makers.
This is where the economics of YouTube really change. We're moving from views to value.
Number 5 on the list is health and natural remedies.
This works because it solves a direct pain point, usually for an older demographic. Benefits of ginger, what happens if you quit sugar. The audience here is loyal. But the source gives a massive warning here. Accuracy matters.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't just hallucinate facts when it comes to health. You need to prompt the AI to cite studies or at least be factually rigorous.
Then we have future tech and AI. This feels very timely.
It's the FOMO niche, fear of missing out. Every day there's a new AI tool or a robot. People are terrified of being left behind. If you can be the channel that summarizes top 5 AI tools, you capture that anxiety and turn it into views. And because tech companies spend a lot on ads, the CPM, the cost per 1,000 views, is very high.
And luxury and lifestyle.
The billionaire lifestyle. Yachts, mansions, watches. This is purely aspirational. You are selling a dream. And the advertisers here aren't selling toothpaste. They are luxury brands and financial apps. They pay a premium to be next to that content.
Which leads us to the final one, which the source calls the king of income, finance and personal investment.
This is the holy grail. The barrier to entry is high because you need to do real research things like the 50-30-20 rule of budgeting. But the payoff, massive. You can get 10 times fewer views than a funny cat video, but make 10 times more money.
That math is always staggering to me. I think people struggle to understand why. Why is there such a massive revenue disparity between a funny quiz and a budgeting video?
Think of it this way. A viewer watching a prank video might be willing to buy a $2 candy bar. A viewer watching a video on best CRM software or how to invest in ETFs might be about to sign a $5,000 contract or move their life savings. Advertisers know this, so they bid up the price of that second viewer's attention by 5,000%. It's about the purchasing power of the eyeballs you are capturing.
Okay, so we have this menu. We have the cheap viral stuff and the heavy expensive stuff. But the source points out that this is where most people fail. They get what it calls paralysis of choice.
Chasing 2 rabbits catches neither. That's the quote. You look at the list and think, I'll do quizzes on Monday and finance on Friday. That is a disaster. You have to pick one lane and own it.
To help with that, the guide offers a decision matrix. 3 questions you have to answer. The first one is fame versus money.
This goes back to what we just discussed. Do you want 500,000 views on a quiz channel, which gives you that dopamine hit of going viral? Or do you want the same income from just 10,000 views on a finance channel?
It's a trade-off.
It is. Views stroke your ego, value fills your wallet. You have to know which one you're chasing because they require totally different strategies.
The second question is about time constraints. This is the one that really resonated with me.
It's the most practical filter. The source distinguishes between asset-light and asset-heavy niches.
Let's unpack that with a scenario.
Sure. Let's say you have a busy 9-to-5 job. You have maybe an hour a day to work on this. If you choose an asset-heavy niche like true crime or history documentaries, you are setting yourself up for failure.
You'll burn out?
You will burn out in 2 weeks. You need archival footage, sound design, map animations. That takes 10 hours to edit properly.
So the alternative?
Asset light. Daily motivation or quizzes. You need a background image, some music, and a voiceover. You can assemble that in 45 minutes. If you have a busy job, you have to pick a niche that fits your schedule, not just your interests.
And the third question seems to be the one people ignore the most, the marathon.
The 6-month rule. Can you tolerate researching this topic every single week for 6 months with 0 views?
Zero.
Zero. Or close to it. This is the reality check. If you pick finance just because you want money, but you hate numbers, researching scripts will feel like torture by week 3. You will quit before the algorithm even knows you exist.
So really, the single biggest predictor of failure, according to this framework, isn't lack of talent.
No, it's picking a high-paying topic that you personally hate researching. The friction is just too high.
Let's assume we've picked a niche, we're committed, now we have to actually make the thing.
Oh.
The source outlines a workflow that leans heavily on modern tools, but it warns against just pressing auto-generate.
It addresses the "I don't know how to edit" excuse head on. In 2026, that is not a valid excuse.
No.
But you have to use the tools with intention.
Step 1 is the script. We touched on this with the Stoicism example.
Right. Context is everything. You use persona prompts. Act as a Stoic philosopher. Act as a campfire storyteller. And there's a critical human step here. Read it out loud. AI can be robotic. It uses words like unleash or delve way too much. If it sounds stiff when you speak it, change the words. You have to humanize the output.
Step 2 is the voice.
We've moved past the robotic text-to-speech of the early 20s. Tools like ElevenLabs let you clone voices or pick specific tones. Deep and serious for history, fast and energetic for tech. It's about matching the audio texture to the content.
Right.
A history doc narrated by a hyped-up tech voice sounds ridiculous.
And step 3, the visuals. This is where the guide suggests our role changes the most.
Yes, using tools like InVideo AI. The source describes these tools as having a personal video editor working 247. It scours stock footage, syncs subtitles, adds music, but, and this is a big bad, the guide actually warns against the auto-match feature for historical content.
Why is that?
Because the AI often pulls modern footage for ancient events. You end up with a video about the Roman Empire showing a guy in a suit walking down Wall Street. The pro tip here is a keyframe-first approach. You lock in your specific visual anchors, the map of Rome, the statue of Caesar manually, and then let the AI fill in the gaps around it.
You know, I have to admit something here. I've played with these tools, and I still wrestle with prompt drift. I ask for a specific mood, like cinematic noir, and sometimes the AI gives me something totally left field, like cyberpunk neon.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's not a magic button. The source says you stop being the editor, cutting clips manually, and start being the director.
The director.
You watch the result, you say, swap that scene, change that music, this mood is wrong. You are curating the output, not creating it from scratch.
It's a skill you have to learn.
So we have the video, we hit publish, we go to sleep, we wake up, and we have 10 views.
And that is the reality check. The source is very clear. Do not panic.
It introduces the click and stick rule.
Simple metrics. Click. Did the thumbnail work? Stick. Did they watch? If you're in history, use a big red arrow on a map. If you're in finance, show a pile of cash.
Keep the thumbnail simple. Very simple. If they click but stop watching after 10 seconds, your intro was boring.
And then there's the 30-day challenge.
This is the discipline part. Most people quit when they see those 10 views. The challenge is, commit to 2 videos a week for 30 days. And here's the rule. Ignore the view count entirely.
Ignore it.
Completely. Treat it like a university course. Video 1 will be terrible. Video 10 will be okay. Video 20 will give you data. You are paying your tuition and time and effort. You cannot judge the success of a channel in the first month because the algorithm is still trying to figure out who the heck you are.
Why must we ignore the metrics for the first month?
Because the algorithm is learning your audience, and frankly, you are still learning the skill.
Okay, let's unpack this whole journey. We aren't just making videos here. We are selecting a niche based on a lifestyle, fit balancing our time and our interests. We're leveraging a repeatable manufacturing system using AI tools where we act as directors. And we are committing to a data gathering sprint where we ignore the vanity metrics.
It's a very grounded approach. And if you zoom out, there is this moment of wonder for me. Think about the scale. We're talking about building these quiet, faceless libraries of knowledge.
Yeah.
Thousands of creators answering billions of specific queries, from how to budget to who was Marcus Aurelius, all running on autopilot. It's a massive, invisible web of information.
It leaves you with a strange thought. If these invisible empires keep growing, utilizing all this generated content, in 5 years, will we even know which of our favorite creators are real people and which are just well-prompted manufacturing lines?
We might already not know.
Something to think about. So if you're listening to this, here's the takeaway from the source. Don't just read the list and nod your head. Pick one niche, just one.
Hmm?
Go to ChatGPT or whatever tool you use and generate your first 10 ideas today. Action beats the list.
Absolutely. Start the machine.
Thanks for diving in with us. Go build your asset. We'll see you next time.